Hi guys, Miss Willems here again, and right now I want to talk to you about the parts of these flowers that we've been seeing. So you might remember this beauty from my neighbor's yard. It's starting to close up and become a fruit, but I went over and I asked her if I could borrow it to talk to you guys about flowers because the parts in here are so amazing. I also wanted to show you, if you remember, I went and looked at that agave, and I have one of the flowers from that agave that put out thousands of flowers. And then I got one more that's really neat, and it's this. This is from an ocotillo, and in the desert we have lots of them. But this had fallen off, and I just wanted to show you that there are hundreds of little flowers on here. So we'll take one and we'll end up talking about this guy. Now this is something you can do at home. You can just take these apart and look at the parts of these flowers. So what we're going to talk about first is this big guy, just because it was so it's so large for us to look at. So if we look at the outside of it, flowers have these things called sepals, and they're the outside petals, which are really, when it opens up, it's that green part that we saw to begin with. And the bottom of the flower right here, and this one looks like it's from a cactus, so it looks like it's going to be really prickly, but it's just kind of furry, thank goodness. This is the receptacle, which is your flower base. And then some flowers have what's called a stem coming out. Now, mine is sort of droopy with part of the anthers coming out, because when I grabbed it from the cactus that it was attached to, it broke earlier. So I got another one that is closed that has a complete receptacle intact, and we'll break that up in a little bit. So that's all the outside parts. We haven't really talked about the inside part, so I'm going to just sort of slice this guy open, see if I can keep some of it intact. So if I open him up here, on the inside we have the male and female parts. Now this used to lie in here and go into the base. This is the female part. This is the style that goes into the bottom, which is called the ovary. The style and the ovary. And this part right at the top, this is the stigma, and it's usually sticky. This one's a little sticky, to catch some of the pollen, which comes from the male part, which are all of these. Look at these. I cannot believe how many anthers there are here. So this is a filament, which is the sticky strand that holds up all of these anthers. And the anther is this teeny tiny piece. I'm crawling with filaments and anthers right now. On the end of the filament, do you see that? That has pollen. What's on the end of that is pollen. So there's pollen on this. So all of these are all of the male parts of this flower, and this is the female part. It's really pretty cool. So I would like really quickly to try to do that with this other one that still has the solid base. Let's just see what that looks like. So I'll cut this open too. When you dissect flowers at home, you will not need to use a razor blade. You can usually do these with your hands. I just wanted to try to keep this all intact so we could see it really well, all the parts of it. So oh, this is a beautiful find. When I open it up here, you can really see all of these amazing flower parts. So if you look closely, I have my style, my ovary right here. This is where all of that pollen went into that base, the ovary. Let me show you really closely. Wow, what an amazing cross section of a flower. Cool, right? So let's look at the ocotillo flower, this teeny tiny guy. Teeny tiny guy. Do you remember what those things sticking up are called? Right, they're filaments. And right on the right on the end, all these things holding the pollen, those are called anthers. Oh my gosh, but look at the size of this guy compared to this guy. Could they possibly have the same parts? They do. They do. So again, you can do this with your fingers, not a razor blade, but I'm really trying to show you that they all open up exactly the same. Now I just pulled the sepal off of this guy, which might have had my my ovary inside of it. So it's possible that I won't be able to find all of the parts in this little guy. But you can see those filaments going right down in there. But where, oh where, is my female part? Come on. Right there. Right there. Here it is. This is my stigma again, and it has sort of a tube-like center that transports the pollen down into that ovary. Isn't that so cool? In the tiny plant and the big plant. So I could do it with this one too, but this one's so easy to see. You can see in the center here that here is my stigma. And my style, the passage tube for the pollen, and here are my filaments with anthers that hold pollen on the end. This one's really easy. I don't even have to take it apart to see it. Awesome. Now, go outside, find yourself a flower. If it's your neighbor's, make sure you ask permission before dissecting it, and take it apart and see if you can find all the parts. Bye.